and Rice. As we pick up the action, Arkansas's clever Billy Moore works the pass option and keeps to his right for 16 to the Aggies' 27-yard line. Watch the way Lance Allworth paints with his head to puzzle the pursuit on this play. And the Lancer grinds out another 6 yards, and Arkansas is on the Aggies' 17. Once more, the double reverse from the wing tee is a punishing play. Paul Dudley's top banana on this one and barely squeaks it over from 17 yards out. It is Arkansas 7, Aggies nothing. Early in the third period, the Aggies strike back. Watch Russell Hill dive in to recover McKinney's fumble, and the cadets set up shop on the Porkers' 11-yard line. Jim Lindstetter tees up through the middle and bucks the ball for 6 yards, and the Aggies are headed for home. And here come 3 bone-busting hammer-like blows by Leroy Cappy. As you watch these from the curb, you can feel that raw power that goes into the manufacture of a touchdown from the toughest place to make them. That's inside the 5-yard line. Just watch this Cappy do it. And then, needing 1 point to tie, 2 points to lead, the Aggies turn the trick. Bobby Huntington makes a great leaping catch at the edge of the end zone. It's Aggies 8, Arkansas 7. Then late in the game, with time running out, it was the old story for these two teams as Arkansas fished it out of the pond. Here's the sleeper play, reverse running pass, Allworth to Paul Dudley. It gains 36 to the Arkansas 46. And another dose of passing medicine puts the Porkers within reach. This time a McKinney to Allworth treatment to the Aggies' 16-yard line. And then with less than a minute to play, McKinney lowers the boom. Here's a perfect strike to Jimmy John, and Arkansas wins the ball game 15-8. The Aggies tried to get something started here. Texas Dave Russell hits in, loses the ball. Walt LaGrone gobbles it up for the Aggies on Texas' 29-yard line. Then the right guard pulls nicely to help the interference for Travis Reagan, and Trav takes the pitch out through the left side for 6. The Aggies' interference was hitting very well in this series. Again on this next play, a nice tie of blocks, and George Hargett goes to the opposite side for another cluster of 7 yards as the Aggies look in from 16 yards out. But there's bad news in Aggie land on this one. Leroy Cappy hits the middle, fumble, and Bob Moses recovers for the Longhorns to lower the boom. The final score, Texas 25, Aggies nothing. Drive bogged down on the Aggie 30-yard line. Then A&M moves to sew it up. There's an inviting hole through the right side for Jerry Rogers, and the big Aggie sophomore makes the most of it for a 14-yard bite. The Aggies rolled up more than 200 yards rushing in this game. A&M didn't want for fullback power, and this is Leroy Cappy's branding iron again behind that strong right side. And then, to put the plug in the jug, here's a worm's eye view of the care and feeding of touchdowns. John Erickson and Bobby Huntington collaborate, and presto, the Aggies now lead 17-0. Late in the game, with Tempest on the Puget, the Aggies polish the apple one more time as Ronnie Bryce and Ronnie Ledbetter move the ball through the air for a fast 16 yards deep into Baylor's backyard. And then the third of the Aggies' pile-driving fullbacks, that would be Sam Beyer, grinds out the last mile. And the Aggies have defeated Baylor. Final score, 23-0. As we join the Aggie Mustang game, the Aggies are driving for their second touchdown, keyed to this Bryce to Hargett pass for 12 yards to the Pony 4. And then from 4 yards out, George Hargett takes the pitch out, hits tackle for the tally. This makes the score Aggies 12, SMU nothing early in the second quarter. After the kickoff, the Ponies take inspiration from a tremendous show by a fired-up sophomore, Jerry Rome, number 17. He moves the Ponies 78 touchdown yards with this amazing series of play from the SMU spread. Jerry was a running and a passing. And here he is in mid-flight on a 17-yard burst around his left side of the Aggie 29. Rome hit a red-hot 17 completions out of 26 passes in this game, this to Buddy Nichols for 13. You note that Jerry seldom throws a set pass. He likes to roam. This roam to Tommy Brennan mixture gets the first Pony touchdown, and it's Aggies 12, Pony 6. Then just before the end of the third quarter, the Mustangs tied it up, and it's Jerry Rome still in there pitching 3 straight times to Don Campbell, first for 13 yards. Here comes the Roman candle again. He can't seem to miss in this brawl, and Campbell is bagged on the Aggie 3. Again, Rome to Campbell, and this ties up the ball game, 12-12 at the end of 3. And then the Aggies win a ball game as Cappy puts on the big rush to the Mustangs' 14-yard line. And with the Tide in full flow up front, John Erickson works the quarterback sneak with a loud noise for a first down on SMU's 10. Then Bob Caskey takes over for 2 hammer-like blows. First up, Robert puts 1 yard after another the hard way, and 8 yards later the cadets are teed up on the Pony 2, and then Caskey taps it in for the go-ahead, stay-ahead touchdown. This is power football at its best. The Aggies went on to score again, and that final was A&M 25, SMU 12. In the A&M game, the Frogs were trailing the Aggies 6-14 late in the game and then caught fire to win. Here's one for the book, and watch it come off. Sonny Gibbs has a long time to get set. Finally gets it away, almost broken up by the Aggies' Keller and into the hands of Dale Glasscock on the bounce, and the Froggies have made instant touchdown the hard way, and man, this is full of grins for Mr. Glasscock, who's a happy lad. Now trailing 12-14, Gibbs and Glasscock pull another rabbit out of the hat. Again, Sonny gets good protection. Watch this, Glasscock, another piece of hero stuff, and TCU is on the Aggies' 10-yard line. And then with time running out, Jerry Spearman belts one through the bars from 10 yards out. And this is enough to win for TCU. Final score in that game was TCU 15, Aggies 14.
Leroy Caffey takes this pitch for a first down on TCU's 6-yard line. Going the other way, Jim Keller fakes to Caffey, and watch. Jim climbs home for the Aggie touchdown to cap a 77-yard drive. It's A&M 7, TCU nothing. Mike Clark has kicked off to TCU, and here comes Jimmy Faulber on a nice run back of 20 yards out to the Froggies' 31-yard line. And then Sonny Gibbs, a tall man, takes over in the cockpit. First he sends Jim Faulber slipping through the mob. Like in combat training here, Jim breaks into the clear to the Aggie 42, a 23-yard exercise. Then TCU had a hammer named Tommy Crutcher who could hit and run. Here goes Tommy the Crutch on a fast gallop, and a wild for 16 more in the Aggie 27. Few plays later, Larry Boulois gets a block by Gibbs and goes the distance for the touchdown. Point ties it up. TCU 7, A&M 7. Well, the hazard of the flat pass is built into football, and here's an example. Gibbs pegs a wide one. Leroy Caffey happens along that way, picks it off. Bingo! Caffey runs it back 54 yards for the tally. Brotherton blocks nicely. It's suddenly A&M 14, TCU 7. After the kickoff, Larry Boulois does a fancy balancing act for the Froggies and rims it back for 37 yards. This puts the Froggies in business on the cadet 33-yard line. And from here in, it's the story of treetop tall Sonny Gibbs, a shot to Nix for 11 that whittles the Froggies down to the Aggie 1-yard line. And from the one, it's a tap-in for long, lean, and Sonny. Gibbs falls over for the touchdown, and from here, TCU went on to win 20-14. The following day, devoting themselves to it to the exclusion of all else. As the picture opens, Aggie's Jim Keller has punted to Baylor's Ronnie Goodwin. He's out to the Bears' 37-yard line. And here comes a sparkler. After the fake dive, watch Don Toole flip this flat pass to Ronnie Goodwin. And Ronnie flashes a fine change of pace. He cuts across the field behind a lather of blocks and is finally beat out of bounds on the Aggies' 14, a 44-yard run as the crow flies. But the Aggies stiffen in this series. Bears face a fourth, needing two, so the talented toe man Carl Schott tees off from the Aggie 13, and Baylor takes a lead 3-0. Late in the game and still trailing 0-3, the Aggies crank up. Willenborg to Kip, good for 17 to the Baylor 18-yard line. Then the Aggies' Leroy Caffey leads the interference for Jim Willenborg, and the hard-running soft cuts out for 11 more to the Baylor 9. And now it's Baylor's turn to get defensively tough, and so from the 18-yard line, Mike Clark moves out to kick that scoreboard into a 3-3 tie with this bullseye. Watch Mike keep his head down. That's the way good place kickers should. A&M went on to win this one in the last 31 seconds, and here's how. Keller draws a beat on George Hargett down the middle. George is crossing at top speed and does not tarry on this 44-yard foot race. It goes all the way down to the Baylor 15. And then with the lamp running out of oil, Mike Clark comes on again. All calm and cool, he tees off 42 yards this time, and the Aggies win 6-3. But it's uphill as we pick up play. Eddie Van Dyke swings right side for 6 early in the game. A&M on Texas' 11-yard line. This time Eddie is sent boring into left tackle, and he tacks on 3 more yards, and the big push is on from the Longhorn 8. Later in the Texas 5, Van Dyke hammers again on the third down play, gathered in on the Texas 3. It's 4th down, and here's one for the record book. Mike Clark steps to the tee for the 3-pointer. Clark's 7th field goal for a new record, and A&M leads 3-0. Near the end of the third period, Texas finally got something on the stove. Ray Pogue battles around the right side on a pitch out for 8 yards. He's across midfield here. And then Johnny Janung goes to the mound. Then House is crossing downfield, and Johnny nails him for a 7-yard gainer. This keeps that drive alive. And then facing fourth down, needing two, the Longhorns go back to that same good play. Wide pitch to fullback Ray Pogue sweeping. First down on A&M's 25. Now in the fourth quarter on the Aggie 10-yard line, and Jerry Cook gives it that good second effort right on the goal line. And Texas has scored to lead 7-3. Texas teed off for another touchdown on this play. Keller flings this one, but it's Duke Carlisle who swipes it and brings it back 7 yards. And from this point, Texas goes on to win 13-3.